In part 5 of Fire Emblem Engage, we start by rolling the Bond Ring Gacha for stats for the people who don't have a fancy ring they can engage with. Now, these aren't just stats, as some of the S tier rings can even have their own skills, which a couple of them are like really broken, but we don't have access to any of them, so we'll have to talk about them later. Now, Chapter 5 starts, and we arrive at Firene Castle to find it overrun by bandits. Turns out that they've taken the queen hostage. This is also where we're introduced to one of the big bads that we'll see frequently in the future, Zephyia, who, she's... I mean, the internet certainly likes her, let's put it that way. Now, we start the chapter, and the boss and like a small army are straight past the door. There are also a number of enemies to the left, along with 2 chests. So we send basically everybody straight for the boss, while Alfred and Louis head to the left for the chests. Now, this is where Louis becomes so strong. See, we give him Sigurd's ring. And if you remember back from Chapter 2, when our mom attempted to murder us, when you engage with Sigurd, you get +5 movement. Now, Armor Knights are supposed to have good attack, high defense, but their 2 drawbacks is a low resistance, meaning they're weak to magic, and their low movement speed, as they can only move 4 tiles a turn. With Sigurd, they now more than double it up to 9, meaning that we now essentially have a wall that is also an Olympic sprinter. Now, I just have Alfred there to kind of help clear out some of the enemies, since the tiles are at the end of a 1-tile wide hallway, and no matter how much movement we have, you cannot move past any enemies. Now, they fairly easily take out the enemies and get the loot. It's an Armor Slayer, which doesn't help us now, but it'll help us in the future, and an Obstruct Staff, which I definitely used poorly. Now, the rest of the group literally breaks down the door to bust into the main hall. Now, this is kind of dangerous, as our actual tank is on the other side of the map. And this is a wide open hall, meaning that there are going to be a lot of attacks from a lot of different angles. But Vander, Lear, and Boucheron are good enough that they're able to provoke and tank most of the enemies without too much trouble. Now, we finally get to the boss, and this is where we learn about a new mechanic in this game. From here on out, the bosses are going to have revival stones, basically extra lives. We have to kill them completely, their first health bar, before they go into the next one. We can't just do 1,000,000 damage in one turn, because then they'll just take the damage and then fully heal. Pretty annoying. So we're able to burst down the first health bar with a Lodestar Rush, which is Marth's engage skill with a Lear. But we don't have nearly enough damage to take down a second health bar, so we kind of just have to pray that we can live a turn. Luckily, anybody at low health is far enough away from the boss that we were okay. So we milk whatever EXP we can get before Boucheron finishes off the boss. Now, after the battle, we get to talk with the Queen, who is so glad to meet up with us, thanks us for helping her, and tries to ask us about our mom, where we have to very awkwardly tell her that our mom died. She then reveals that Firene was actually given a second ring, but she was keeping it a secret because 2 rings for one country is kind of favoritism, and there was already some tension between some of the kingdoms. So we set off for Brodia to try and find the second ring on our way, and eventually reach Brodia to get their ring. And then finally there's a cutscene where Zephyia murders the boss we just because they weren't able to kill us. And for some reason, people still simp for this lady.